live stream that I've ever done. And yeah, I wanted to come in here. I think these moments are super special. And as things are transitioning, I think something that I started this channel for a reason, and one reason only, is to positively impact people's lives. But something I saw on the internet that didn't make me really want to be a part of it was I would see a lot of things that, weren't real. I would see people not being real. I would see, you would see something that someone was doing online, and then you'd be around them and they weren't what they were online, offline. And I noticed that like a lot of people don't share their hardships or their times where they're going through transitions, or we tend to show our lives after we become successful, or we snap moments of our life where we're happy, where everything's exciting, where everything is going well. And that makes sense, right? Like often when we want to share from our heart space. So this is my first ever live. So if you're checking in, what I'm going to be talking about today is some real talk. And I haven't posted on this channel in some time, but I thought I would post this, and I thought I'd come in live, to test out how live works, how it is speaking live, and then on top of that, sharing what's going on and giving a little bit of a channel update, and just kind of being raw and being real and being exactly as it is, in this moment. And what's interesting? Like I waver in and out to share what I'm going to talk about today, but then I think about like how often we don't share this online. And then I thought about my intention for starting this channel. And part of that was to show the lows, show the moments where things aren't figured out, because I feel that for most people, it is far more relatable to connect to someone that's being real and sharing what's exactly going on, as opposed to keeping it for themselves and not sharing this aspect of their growth and where they're at. So today, I want to kind of first touch upon the YouTube channel. So I've posted, if you look on my channel, I've posted this will probably be video 397 or 398. It's a lot of videos, there's a lot of videos to be posting, to be finding your message. I just was listening to this guy called, I think his name's like Aaron Daughtry, or I don't know his last name, but I was listening to him speak on this channel, on Owen Cook's channel. I don't know if you know who Owen Cook is. The guy who created Real Social Dynamics, where I learned from actually in Vegas. And I was watching him speak, and he was like, you just have to do the reps. And I've heard a lot of people say that, you just got to do the reps, but you wonder how many reps you got to do, how many sets, how many reps you got to do to really start making something work. But on the other side of that, and how this is relatable to YouTube and my journey right now in 397 videos, is that like you would think by this stage at 300, come on, man, at 397 videos, you would think at least you'd be making some progress, some momentum. Now, if you go back and look through my channel, you'll see the growth. You'll see the growth in the way I label my SEO. Like, my thumbnails are ranked in a certain way and designed in a certain way. My titles, I've even learned this thing called tails. You add a tail. If you look at my thing in my brackets, I put a tail. It helps with ranking for SEO. I've learned about hashtags. I've learned about speaking to camera. I've learned about how to capture attention with using different camera techniques. I've learned about how to speak to camera. I'm a much different speaker than I was back in the day, But it's kind of interesting, right? Like, I want to ask you right now, maybe you could leave a comment below this video. It's like, would you be willing to keep going at almost 400 videos and not making $1? I've not made $1 out of this production, out of everything that I've been putting out. But my intention is really strong. It's like I have this vision of positively impacting people. And I honestly believe that at some point, at somewhere, I've positively impacted people with the videos that I've created. But with that said, you know, I've been doing it, I guess I started my first post was in like December 29th, 2018 right now. I think that was my first video I ever posted on any social media, anything. And it's kind of interesting. I've created a lot of content since that time. And it's interesting to, if you look at the monetary results, like it's very, very minimal. And then if you come down to the amount of coaching that I've had in the space and the mentors that I've had in the space, like I've been coached by some very successful people that are also coaches in the space that are able to coach people through these experiences as far as making an online business monetizable so that you can fund yourself. So for me personally, I'm going to be honest with you right now, like trying to make YouTube work as far as how do you crack the code to where you can sustain your life while doing the work you love, speaking about things you love speaking about, helping people in areas that which you can help people in. I think of, I'm around some of these people, and I'm not trying to talk down on anyone. It just makes me curious, as to, it's interesting. What do you focus on, right? Do you focus on the transformation, or do you focus on the marketing to get people to the transformation? And once they're in your pipeline, once they're in your funnel, and once they're in your, they've paid for your course or whatever, it's like, what part of the transformation do you focus on? Because for me personally, I've really focused on the second half. I've not, and so the last 3 years have been focused on the front half, how to get people to get into a transformation, an inner transformation. And I genuinely believe I'm a lot closer than I've ever been before. But where I'm at on YouTube right now is like kind of interesting, right? Like I'm learning to niche down, but at the same time, if you're ever looking to be a coach, or if you're ever looking to be successful online, that's some of that's like one of the basic things you'll get into is like find your niche. And it's kind of interesting because the intention with this channel was at the beginning to document a journey, to my ultimate dream. And on the way, you make changes, and if you look at other creators, you got to make pivots along the way with the times that are changing and things that are changing. And this is one of them, is just trying to live right now for the first time and sharing vulnerably about my journey, and not really, not knowing exactly the next steps, but also having a passion. And so that's something that the creators talk about. It's like, just go back and create. And so I guess this is what I'm doing today. And speaking from like a little bit more of a lower moment, And so something I did for the first time was I created an offer to my network. I've never offered really anything to my network, and it's been a very interesting experience. I'll just be flat out, I failed at it. I feel like I'm failing at it. I'm learning. This is the better word, right? I want to speak in terms that are relatable, in terms that you may experience yourself. If you feel like you're a failure, if you feel like you're speaking to yourself and you're like, oh, I'm a failure, it's like I'm in the moment experiencing that. I got a very, very successful man. I mean, he's at a low moment right now in his career, but on the books, he's been a very successful human being as terms of monetary value. And I got him to kind of give me an honest audit of what I was offering to my network here in Bali. And man, I just like feel the feelings of like a failure. And then I'm like, oh man, I'm coming onto YouTube, and I'm like, oh man, I've not been able to click with this. But the intention now for this live is to just share what's going on in my inner world. I touch here because I share what's going on in my inner world with you, because I want to be a leader of this type of content. I want to so often we don't share these aspects of ourselves, and especially right now, like I don't have a solution right now. I don't have a solution in what I'm experiencing right now, or as far as I don't have a solution to get monetarily results through YouTube or even in through my offer. And there's some serious, not serious, but there's some blocks that I've been working through to even get to offering my offer to to my network, and just feeling how it's been received. It's like, oh, this is it. This is what you got to go through. This is the hurdles we got to go through in life to be successful. But I don't want to chop together, because I've done this too, to be honest, in the past. I don't want to chop together a video of this recording right now, and I've hidden it, and then once I'm successful, I put this part of it in, and then you're like, well, see, I knew you were gonna do it. Like, or I show the video after the fact. It's like, no, let me give you me right now, where I got no solutions. I basically, what I feel is like I failed. I want to say that in terms of personally how I frame it inside myself is I've learned from it. But yeah, there's a strange feeling inside my body with what I've just offered my audience, or sorry, my network. But this is relatable. I feel like it's a similar. See, this is what the brain does, right? It matches to other feelings that are similar, and then, okay, this is maybe a coachable moment or a teachable moment for myself as well. This is why I talk about this stuff. I talk about it out loud. It's for myself as well. But what starts to happen if you think a thought over and over again, and if you think it longer than 17 seconds, what will happen is that thought will turn into a mood. And that mood over time will turn into an emotion or a feeling. And that feeling, if you think about it or feel it long enough, it will turn into your state. So what happens is we have this thing, Owen Cook talks about it very profoundly. He talks about how we have this mechanism in our brain called the RAS. And what can happen with our RAS is basically right now, right? Like I'm looking at like a garden right now. I'm sitting in a hammock, I'm getting a fan blown on me, but at any moment we have something around like 2 million bits of data coming at us, right? All our senses. I can just focus on my nose, like my breath, I'm speaking, I'm hearing, like, but for us to process that, it's impossible. So we can only process about 2,000 bits of data per second, essentially. And so there's this thing in our brain called the RAS, which helps us create selectular focus. And what that does is allows us to be focused on something that we're concentrating on and not trying to understand all the 2 million bits of data per moment, but that's going into our subconscious mind. But one of the things we want to be mindful of the RAS is if you start to focus on something, let's say, quote unquote, negative, or doesn't serve your mind, or doesn't serve your state, or doesn't serve your subconscious mind, your mind is going to attract more of those thoughts to it. So if you focus on the failure, right, that feeling that I've been feeling, if I focus on that for too long, then what will happen is I'll start drawing in other moments. And if you go back and rewind this, you'll see my brain had just done that. But because I've built these awarenesses inside myself to focus on the good in life and to focus on the wins and the positivity, not that I don't address the negativity, but what is that going to help me if I focus on failing? But I say that word because I don't know where you're at in your journey and if that's relatable to you. But for me, I feel like it's learning, but I've reframed it inside myself. And I know from listening to enough YouTubers, I know from listening to enough, people that are successful in any of their endeavors, it's just like, there's trench time, man. You got to go through the trenches. But I'm just kind of shocked to see like how some of these people were able to pop, like, were able to connect with their message. And something else that I really want to share that I think like it's worth sharing, especially if you listen this long, it's probably something that you're wanting to relate to. So something that has come to me in a meditation through, I'm like, I got all this energy and this place in me that wants to share and want to connect with others and be there for others as well. And so what I've been doing is something I've learned from a mentor is this idea where like you can model things that are successful, like, so for example, like when someone invented the car, like think about how many car brands there is out there. Like The I don't believe Kia invented the car, you know, it just modeled the car. And so they just duplicated, saw something that worked and was duplicating it, right? And at the beginning, when you're in your niching moments, you don't really know what angle to go. You don't really know what place to go as far as where to direct your energy. So sometimes it's helpful to model other people. But one of the things that I've been learning from that as well is like you also want to be yourself, you know? And so I've been trying to sift through my messaging. It's like what is the transformation that I want to give people? And it's interesting, right? Like I can't articulate it through words, but if you were to be around me and I would take you through the day of all these exercises and habits and things that I do in a day, you would get it. But I'm trying to transmute that feeling, the feeling that I feel inside the float tank, you know, inside of meditation, when I'm able to wake up and go for a workout with no pre-workout. I'm motivated, not caffeinated, no caffeine, no alcohol, no drugs, nothing, clean as a whistle. I'm as sober as your as your friend's little baby. That's how sober I am, basically. You know what I mean? Like I'm as sober as a 6-year-old, essentially. Like I feel like that stage. I'm just kidding. 6-year-olds probably. I do drink kombucha, so I doubt a 6-year-old will drink a kombucha. But other than kombucha, that's like I'm like at least to me, I've never been this clean in my life. But there's a byproduct for being that clean, you know? I actually, other than my girlfriend, I don't know any other human being that is in this state. And so if I could share this, and when I share this, and that's my goal moving forward, is to share this, but learning how to share it. And that's really what I'm wanting to check in on. And so to tie that back to how is this relatable to finding people to model off of YouTube, it's like, you know, I feel from what I'm starting to learn is that they were just starting to really be themselves. They were really being their personality. They were letting their personality out, and they weren't concerned fully what they had the awareness of what others were doing, but then they transformed their own personality. And that's something that I'm doing here today. I'm just sharing who I am in a lower moment, in a place where I'm like, you know, feeling like I'm learning quite a bit, you know? It's like, damn, this is the first time creating an offer for my network. I didn't really have too many bites on it. You know, obviously I don't clearly, I mean, here's an internet wisdom cookie. Like if no one bites on it, it's you haven't done your market research. You haven't done enough market research. You have to create a great offer. Well, essentially how Alex Hormozy says, right? You want to create an irresistible offer. I think it's Alex Hormozy. But when you have a great offer, then it's a no-brainer. And that's something that I don't feel like I created. But a great first learning curve. I really hope that I didn't sour anyone in my network with the offer. But yeah, I'm just feeling like I really want to give to the world. I really want to give to you. I really want to positively impact you. And I'm trying to find ways to do that while sustaining and living my ultimate lifestyle as well, you know? Because that's really, you know, something that I'm working towards is this thing called conscious dollars. I've called it conscious dollars. I mean, maybe it's called somewhere, someone else has it as well. But my idea of a conscious dollar is where you're you're earning an income, doing something you're passionate about. It definitely positively impacts people. People are happy to pay for the service and are happy to tell other people about the service. And you feel amazing. You're empowered. You're invigorated by the work that you're doing. So the more you do, the more invigorated you feel. You know, you feel alive. Now I get it. There's aspects of life and in work and in general in business that we have to do that we don't necessarily want to be doing, you know. But when it's working towards a future goal, a future you, a future reality that you're wanting to create, you're excited about, well then, I mean, that's a home run right there. And the energy feels really good, you know. That's one thing if you're on this journey of raising your awareness or consciousness, you know. it's like you're so much more tuned into your feelings. You feel that's the byproduct. I was literally, I'm not kidding you, I was coaching a buddy on the grass there on Sunday night, and I said part of this is like you've become so aware. So there's a byproduct of being that aware, is that you're really tuned into your feelings. And so that's what I wanted to share here today. I'm excited to try this new live. I'm excited to share where I'm at currently. And yeah, I just wanted to do a little bit of a check-in and share where I'm at today, and in hopes to be in alignment with my intention with this channel, as far as showing, not with the solution, not showing it all figured out, not knowing, and being real and raw, and saying, hey, here's where I'm at. And maybe that's relatable to someone. Maybe someone needs to hear, maybe you need to hear that today, and it will be beneficial. All right, first live on the channel. Feeling excited. Share my peace, share my love.